Alright people, this is going to be a pretty short video, but probably one of the most viewed given the subject matter, because it deals with traveling without a license. And I know this involves just about everybody. And this is what gets a lot of people into this freedom stuff, because a lot of people wondered, well, why can't I just drive? Look, and when I say drive, I'm talking normal terminology drive. I'm not talking the technical federal code of what drive is. And so I hate that they've actually taken our words, like a person. I refer to people as persons, but I'm not talking about the legal person. It's the same thing with drive. I mean, they've taken us to the point where we've got to change our language, our common language, because this oppressive bar legal society came into things and twisted all the words and have sort of claimed all the words to be theirs. So if you're a person, you've got to be their person. You can't be your person. Over here, you got to be their person, their type of person. Same thing with drive, the word drive. When I say drive, I'm talking about getting in my car and turning the key, hitting the gas, and going somewhere. I'm not talking about the technical term of drive. I'm engaged in commerce. And they so ingrained this into people that it's sad that we've actually come down to this, where we have to now run two separate dictionaries, basically. Their crappy legalese dictionary and the real world common law dictionary. But given that that is what it is, and so I do sort of speak like that. I call them persons, and now I say travel instead of drive, because that's what these trained monkeys, the people they have that are really your public servants, that are now treating you like they're subjects, like they own you. These are the things that they were taught to do and listen for and do. So, for the time being, whatever. But I'm going to show you a way that a gentleman, actually in our my Telegram group, basically with a $5 affidavit of status, he was stopped 4 times and was let go all 4 times. And he doesn't have a license plate. He doesn't have a driver's license. He doesn't have registration, and he doesn't have insurance. And he's 4 for 4 so far with them letting him go. So this stuff here is on the website. You can go to go and jump into any form on the website at IamHasSentMeToYou.com. And I got this pinned at the top of the form because I think that's how important the affidavit of status is. Because everything they're doing against us, when they're moving against us, is all started under presumptions. They've made a presumption as to who you are. And when you give them that affidavit of status, you remove all their presumptions. And if it's an affidavit form, they can't defeat it unless they want to step forward and give a counter affidavit and rebut yours point for point. And giving the way liability and insurance works, that's never going to happen. Trust me. You're never going to get a rebuttal to your affidavit of status. So I'm going to leave this up here for you, and I put it in the document here because a lot of people have been asking me to put these outlines, which they're really rough. I mean, I literally do these 5-10 minutes before I do a video, so these are rough. So, but people asked me to start posting these so that they could follow along. No problem. I'm going to start putting these up on the website in a folder in the document section. But so here's pretty much a simple script you would follow if you want to do with Alex from Utah has done 4 times. Cop pulls you over. You say, state basically, sir, I'm not traveling under a license. And then I would state, sir, you forced me off the road and approached my car by force of arms. That means he's got weapons on him and he approached your car. He has no authority to pull you over and approach your car unless he's got a warrant or unless he's got probable cause, which means he's seen you commit a crime. And a crime has to have a victim. All right, a crime has to have an injured party, a victim. You can't commit a crime by not following somebody's written words. That's not a crime, okay? Written word crimes are, I think they're called mala prohibita. Means it's on, crime by paper only, pretty much. That's what mala prohibita is. It's a crime by paper. Well, I'm sorry, I can't commit a crime against the envelope or a sheet of paper. You can only commit crimes against men or women. And so this is all this dumb presumption that these people have been taught. These cops, most of these cops are improperly trained. But they're trained like that. It's not that they didn't know to train them that way. They trained them purposely the way they have because they wanted them to be revenue officers. They wanted them to collect money from you. They wanted you to believe that you going through a stop sign was a crime and that you had to pay money for that crime. And that this guy that they hired and gave him a nice little uniform and a gun, he's your authority, and you have to pay money because he saw you do something bad. This is all the indoctrination stuff. So when he actually forces you off the road, and he approaches your car with a gun on or any kind of weapons, that's a felony he just committed. And so the third thing I'd say to him, sir, unless you have a warrant or probable cause proving I committed a crime, you just violated my secured Fourth Amendment right. And Fourth Amendment basically states that they got to have a warrant. You got to have a warrant to seize people or information. You just can't willy-nilly pull somebody over and ask them to give you documents. I mean, if I was driving down the road and I forced a car off the road and I went to the driver and I said, "Hey, give me your documents," the guy would either either shoot me or he'd call the cops and have me arrested for committing a crime. So that's the same thing this guy's doing. Just because he's got a uniform on and he's got a gun, that makes him dangerous to gun, and his mistraining makes him dangerous too. But we'll talk about who he is actually, in reality, who he is to you. And I think you'll be a little surprised as to who he actually is. So when he forces you off the road there, putting that lights on and making you pull over, he just violated your Fourth Amendment rights. Because I guarantee he'll have a warrant to pull you over. And he doesn't have probable cause. Not unless you actually committed a crime. Not unless he's seen you hit a car or hit a person and take off. Or you did some other kind of damage to somebody's property. If it's anything like for a code violation, like you were going too fast or you didn't like the way you changed lanes, these are code violations. These are code infractions. They're not crimes. They're not probable cause. And I use the analogy. If I'm driving around my neighborhood here and the cop sees me go through a stop sign and he's a half block away and he starts chasing me and I get in my driveway and pull in and I get in my house before he can do anything, he's done. He can't come in my house. That's not a crime, what I did. And if he actually came in my house or broke in my house, I'd own everything he has. He'd have to go get a warrant from a judge. He'd have to swear under oath or affirmation that he's seen me commit a crime to get a warrant from the judge. Well, me going through a stop sign or a red light, that's not a crime. That's a code infraction. So the judge would laugh at him if he wanted a judge to get a warrant because I ran a stop sign and he couldn't get me. So the judge would laugh at him because that's not probable cause. Me going through that stop sign wasn't probable cause. So he needs either a signed warrant. Like I was saying, warrants are gotten by someone goes to generally the police and they'll say, "Hey, this man or woman, I know they're committing crimes. They're doing this," and they'll swear under oath or affirmation that you're committing this crime. They'll then take that oath or affirmation to a judge, and the judge will review it. And if it's got merit, and if he sees probable cause in there, meaning what you wrote down that you've seen somebody doing, the judge is going to review that and say, "Yeah, that's a crime." And if it's a crime, he's going to sign it, and that'll go to the police officer, and they'll come arrest you. Okay, that's the warrant. So when he pulled you over in that car, he don't have a warrant. But then let's look at probable cause again. We just stated this. You going too fast, or you changing a lane the way he didn't like you changing it, or speeding or whatever. That's not probable cause. Okay, so he just violated your Fourth Amendment right. Then I'd move on to, "Sir, now you're asking me to turn over my property. That violates my Fifth Amendment right." Because when he asks you to turn over your license and registration, even if you don't have one, just for him to ask you to turn anything over to him, doesn't matter whether it's a license, a registration, or anything, a tissue, I don't care what it is. For him to ask you to turn over anything without a warrant, that's a crime. Okay, he violated the Fifth Amendment. That's a crime he committed. So now, on a typical traffic stop, look what just happened. You were assaulted. This guy forced you off the road, and he came up to your car with weapons on him. That's an assault, okay? God forbid if he touches you, that's battery. That's assault and battery. But just from him stopping you and coming up to your car with weapons on him, that's assault, okay? Now, he goes on to that's also not just assault, that violated your Fourth Amendment right, because we know he don't have a warrant and he don't have probable cause to stop you. Now, as soon as he gets to your car, he's going to now commit another crime. He's going to ask you to turn over property to him. Again, he doesn't have a warrant. He doesn't have probable cause to ask you to turn over property to him. That violated your Fifth Amendment right. So now he's committed crimes, and now he's violating easily proven Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment rights he's violated. And then I would say, sir, for my safety, I'm going to assert my Fifth Amendment right. That's telling him that I'm not going to... Basically, what the Fifth Amendment right means is anything you give that police officer, when you give them that license, in a way, you're self-indicting yourself. You're implicating yourself. You have no obligation to do that. Anything you turn over to him or you say to him can be used against you. And when you turn that license and registration over and you talk to him, you're turning over information that can be used to indict you on something or to implicate you in something in a crime. You're under no obligation to turn anything over to this guy. So you tell him, sir, for my safety, I'm going to assert my Fifth Amendment right. And then I have my affidavit in hand. I would say, sir, for your safety, I'm going to provide you my affidavit of status. And sir, everything I need to say to you is in that sworn affidavit. Then answer no more questions from there on out. You're done at that point. And that's what Alex has done. And he just tells them, listen, I don't answer questions. Because there's nothing good that's going to come out of anything if you answer questions. If you think answering questions to a police officer is going to help you in some way, you are delusional. All right? What that guy's doing, that police officer, he's on a fishing expedition with you. He wants to see if he can find something that he can use against you, something else. So instead of just a traffic stop, he can implicate you in some other kind of crime. No. Don't give him that opportunity. Don't do that. So like I said, Alex from Utah, he's been stopped 4 times. He's got nothing. He's got no license, no plate, no registration, no insurance. He's 4 for 4. And he said what generally happens is he gives it to the cop. The cop looks confused because he's never seen this before. Goes back to the cruiser and starts reading it. And then he calls for backup, the supervisor, because he don't know how to handle the situation, because I guarantee no one's ever handed him an affidavit of status at a traffic stop. Supervisor usually comes, and the supervisor approaches the car, and he will then ask Alex, some questions, and Alex just gives him, simply replies, listen, I don't answer questions. And after getting frustrated with that, the supervisor turns over his affidavit of status to him and tells him have a good day and sends him on his way. Now, let's talk about who the police are. If you know my stuff and the things I talk about, you know that these local governments are municipal corporations. And the police officers are employees of those municipal corporations. So they are, in effect, just private employees of that municipal corporation. Well, think about it now. We've been filing all these affidavits, all these documents. If the municipal corporation doesn't have jurisdiction over you, authority over you, because it's just a fiction, it's a corporation, how did the employee that they hired have suddenly get jurisdiction over you? If the municipal corporation doesn't have it, which they don't, how did they hire some guy, give him a title, give him a gun, give him a fancy uniform with and a car? And how did that give him jurisdiction over you? It didn't. Okay, it doesn't. He's just a private employee of a municipal corporation. He's a revenue generator. Think about him that way. He's a road pirate. That's what he is. He's not an officer of the United States. And if you want to find out, we'll actually put some stuff in some of my paperwork too. It's Title 18, 912, 913. It's an unlawful arrest, which guess what happened to you when you were forced off the road without a warrant, without probable cause? That was an unlawful arrest. Arrest doesn't mean you have to be officially arrested. Him just impeding your progress and forcing you off the road, that's an arrest. And there's Supreme Court decisions that even back that up. I don't care really what their opinions are. I don't care about what courts' opinions are. But even their own courts state that, hey, just you impeding anybody's progress anywhere, that's an arrest. There's no such thing as being detained. That's a made-up cop word, police word. There's no such thing as I'm detaining you. No. If you can't leave under your own volition, you're arrested, okay? There's no detained. Detained doesn't exist. You won't find detained anywhere in codes. There's an arrest and there's no arrest. So if he's got you stopped, you were arrested. So this private employee, he's got no authority or jurisdiction over you. But I'm not going to tell you to be disrespectful to him or to mock him in any way or make him mad. Listen, the guy's got a gun, okay? And I've seen some horrific things happen to people at traffic stops. I've seen guys, go to reach in to get their license, and the cop shoots him. So, I look at it this way. You follow this line, but everything can be corrected in paperwork. After the fact, everything can be corrected. Any kind of mistakes you think you made at the stop can all be corrected in paperwork, your next paperwork. So don't get yourself down if you think you made a mistake or you didn't say the right thing. It can all be corrected in paperwork. And when I say paperwork, I'm talking affidavits. And but you just need to know, I want you to know in your head that he has no, just because they gave him a badge and a gun and a title, that didn't give him any authority over you. When he pulls you over, that's no different than just John Q. Public pulling you over, somebody else pulling you over. He's just like I said, he's a private employee of a municipal corporation, no special authority over you. And if you want to really think of him in one way, you can think of him as glorified mall cops, because in effect that's what they are. And just to drive it home, because these are the basics that people don't know, and they don't want you to know. Only two ways that these guys called police officers can interact with you. One's by way of a signed warrant for your arrest. We covered that earlier. And probable cause, which is a crime. We covered that. Like we said, a crime is not a code violation, a code infraction. A crime is a crime. It means basically you harmed or damaged somebody in some way. And now let's look at the hierarchy of real law. And I've covered this in other videos too. But like I said, I'm going to repeat this stuff over and over to you till it smacks in your head, till you hear me talk about this and you go, oh, he's going to say this, he's going to say that, he's going to say that. Yeah, then you got it. So the hierarchy of real law goes like this. Federal Constitution. That's their law of the land, okay? It's Article 6, Clause 2. It's called the Supremacy Clause. That states anything in conflict with the federal constitution, including the state constitution, including any state law, statutes, codes, or ordinances, are notwithstanding. This is king, this is queen, this is subject. This is 1, 2, 3. 3 never gets to jump 1, okay? So when that cop says, you have to show me ID, that's coming under their statutes. Okay, their statutes, when he says that, can never trump the federal constitution, which you have Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights not to self-incriminate yourself and not to be subjected to a warrantless search. So he could say anything he wants. Well, you have to do this, you have to do that. That's all contained in his statutes here. Okay, so none of that's true. Nothing can ever trump the federal constitution. So I would tell you, read through the federal constitution a few times. Start to get familiar with it, because this doesn't give you your rights. It only secures your God-given rights. But think about these constitutions, federal and state. These are rule books for the police officers. They got to follow this, and so is all government. They have to follow it. And when they step outside of not following this, they are in non-compliance of it. They're non-compliant to the Constitution. And the danger for them when they're in non-compliance is not only are they going to get sued, but there's a chance that the insurance company might say, hey, you were non-compliance. We're not going to cover this suit. You got to eat this bill yourself. Because insurance companies cover at the entity for staying in guidelines with the law. And the analogy I always give, it's like, if I got my car drunk and God forbid I hit somebody and I hurt them, my insurance company wouldn't pay for that. I guarantee they wouldn't pay for it because I'm in non-compliance of my policy. I guarantee it states in the policy I'm not supposed to be driving around drunk. Okay, that's the same thing with the cop. The police officer is not supposed to be doing things outside of the federal constitution, the state constitution, and even the law, statutes, codes, and ordinances of the state. He's got to stay in compliance. It's a given. He's got to stay in compliance. And like I said, when he steps outside, he can get sued, and he's in danger of losing his insurance. So that's just proof, basically. So, I hear all these crazy ways to change your birth certificate, do this, do that, and there you go. Alex, with his 5-hour affidavit status, has now walked away from 4 traffic stops. Now, I'm not telling you to, hey, go run out and do this. That's up to you. Like anything, you've got to understand. You've got to be able to support this stuff. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be able to support this stuff and know how to talk about it. You don't want to take something printed off a document, whether it's on my site or somebody else's site, and not know what's on that paper, not understand it. You better understand everything that's on that paper. And if you don't understand what's on that paper, jump on the Telegram group and start asking questions. My God, there's over 24 people in there now. Some very smart and good people up there that are going to be able to answer your questions for you. So there's no reason not to jump up there and ask a question for something you don't understand. So understand the paperwork, and the paperwork itself, when you download it, read it. Read my documents if you're going to use them. Read them and understand what they are. And go post up there. Why did Alphonse put this here? Why did he put that there? And you don't even need me to answer. I guarantee most of the people that have been in there, there's a lot of regulars in there, they're going to know right away what that says in there and why I put it in there. So, but I just wanted to open your mind up to that. Is wow, look at that. You guys are all worried about your birth certificates and your certificate of live births and all that nonsense. And look, for $5, you just created a superior ID to a birth certificate and a certificate of live birth. How about that? Because your birth certificate, you didn't sign it, so they can't attach the paper to you. The document can't be attached to you. If you're not a signatory to it in by way of a contract, the document's meaningless to you. But you signed that affidavit of status, didn't you? And you got it notarized by a state officer. That's more powerful than any birth certificate. It's more powerful than any certificate of live birth. So that's it. Just want to give you just another little tool here. Like I said, you're starting to see it now. You're starting to see a lot of wins come your way. I'm seeing it with people, and it's funny. I got a troll, an attorney troll, who's on my YouTube group there. I don't know why he's watching my videos for some reason. Listen, the guy hates me, so why are you watching my videos if you hate me? But yeah, he's up there watching the videos, and he's posted things like, "This is all patriot mythology. I see no evidence of successes," and I'm like, he's calling all the successes we've had myths. So I just wanted to let all you people out there know that have been helped. You guys are all myths, according to this guy. You don't exist, okay? I don't know who you people are. You're myths. So I just wanted to bring this stuff out, and I wanted to, this is a real world example. This is what you call proof of concept. You see all these crazy theories on the internet, and a lot of people get in trouble trying them because they were never tested. And this is one that right there, there you go, it's tested. And FYI, guess what I carry in my car? Affidavit of status. And I also carry the lawsuit that I'm going to move against the judge, pretty much, the affidavits and the claim and the mail fraud claim and the judicial claim I filed against them. So I got that little clips of paper too there, so that if the cop wants to start giving me trouble, go, hey, be sure you know what you're doing, or else I'm going to walk you down this kind of road too, and hand them those papers and let them go review those papers. So like I said, I don't recommend or do anything I don't do myself. And there's a lot of people out there that do. They just give you these theories, and they're not doing it themselves. And beware of that, okay? I gravitate to people, when I learned, I gravitated towards people that have had successes, real successes. I don't care about your theories. Now, your theories are great, but you know what? Until you could actually show me proof of concept that it works, that somebody's doing it, it's meaningless. It really is. So that's it. Just another little tool for your toolbox there. Have a good day, guys. Take care.